I like to think that if I was given the opportunity to choose what color Power Ranger I would be, I would choose Black Mastodon because it's the coolest, and now I've called it, no one else can have it. Spencer Hendricks, what kind of color Power Ranger would you like to be, and what monster? Monster.
Or Munster.
Well, I think that, as I said before, Mastodon's my favorite, and I think the best color for Mastodon would be magenta. So I would definitely be a magenta Mastodon Power Ranger.
Well, you got the alliteration too, the MM.
Yeah.
Brian Vaughn, what alliterated color and animal would you be?
Purple Panther.
That's pretty good.
Wasn't that in
It's close to Pink Panther. It's almost a ripoff.
Legend of the Hidden Temple? That was one of the teams.
That was the purple Pumas.
What was purple?
I don't remember. Purple monkeys? That was the silver monkeys.
Purple
parrots.
Purple parrots. See? It wasn't the same thing.
No,
I
it was
knew
the Purple
that.
Power Rangers, of course. Well, this is the Bootu Boys, and we're covering Power Rangers Season 2, Episode 1, The Mutiny, on today's episode. Boy, there's a lot to talk about. We have a little bit of a change from our last episode to this one in the world of Power Rangers. It's been a full 60 episodes since the first one. That's right. Season 1 had 60 episodes.
I bet they were all very distinguishable from one another.
And they were quite good. Each and every one of them award-winning, wonderful. And in fact, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a quiz over those past 60 episodes because that means 60 critters, give or take a few, have come in and been the monster of the week. Goldar was our monster last week, but there are different ones. Finster creates one out of the putties. They send it down. It has different personality traits or whatever. They fight. It's over.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to step on you.
So I'm going to give you guys several of these monsters, and you tell me whether or not they are really in the Power Rangers or if I made them up.
Okay.
Are you ready?
You made it up.
It's in there.
You made up all these.
I'm going to go the other direction.
How
Say these
dare
are
you.
all
They're
real.
all in there.
Because you could never, with Power Rangers, you could never tell.
Okay.
No matter how ridiculous you get right now, I'm going to be like, that could be in a Power Rangers.
And you guys are going to have one vote between the two of you. You have to
Okay.
decide.
Unless you get graphic or something just not appropriate. Like
Steven
it's
Seagal.
the flying fuck monster. I don't know why that came
No,
to my
that was in
mind.
season 3, so I didn't include it.
Cunnilingosaurus.
So that's when the Power Rangers decided to go for a more adult audience.
Well, let's start with King Sphinx. You guys think King Sphinx is a real Power Rangers villain?
See, to me, that sounds more like a 70s prog band.
King Sphinx, that'd be a good one.
Yeah.
I
I'd
love
listen to
that.
him.
Yeah, that sounds good. I don't. I'm paralyzed. I would say no.
Okay, let's go with that.
We're
That's
going
my
no.
inclination also.
And I'll give you the true answer for all of these when we're done.
I don't want to know.
Next up, we have Eye Guy, who's just a bunch of eyeballs.
I hope so.
Think that's real or fake?
Yes.
I want to wish that in
Yeah,
existence
it's real.
too.
You
We
guys
say
both saying
yes.
real? Okay. Next up, we have Commander Crayfish. Crayfish, but a
I mean,
commander.
there's fish face in this one, so
Well,
could be a
Piranha's head.
distant,
I don't.
distant cousin.
God, I don't.
Commander Crayfish.
That
Brian.
can't be real, can it?
I'm gonna say I want to go yes.
Okay, let's go yes.
You're going yes? Okay. So we got a no, yes, yes. Next up, we have Ivan Ooze. Ivan Ooze.
I assume this is a Russian character. Ooze was very popular when we were children.
I'm gonna defer to you on this one. Whatever you want to go with.
I think so.
You
I
think
think
real on that
so.
one? All right, we'll get a real. Next up, we have Pudgy Pig. Pudgy Pig, a real Power Ranger.
Yes,
I think it
100%, and he's mentioned in this episode.
Yeah, he is. And I didn't realize that until I got finished with my notes, but I was like, I'll keep it. Maybe, who knows? They weren't
Well,
paying
because
attention.
to be fair, it's one of those things that gets mentioned quickly, like you should know about it, and
Yeah.
there's no reason for anyone to know about it. Those are just words that certainly stick out.
Robo-Goat.
No, right?
Nah.
Like, there's no way.
No on Robo-Goat. Weird. I didn't think you guys go that route. All right, how about Rito Revolto, Rita Repulsa's brother? Rito Revolto.
That sounds awesome.
It does.
Do you think he laughs real cool?
I'm good. This is another one of those things that I hope it's real enough, so I'll say yes.
Sure.
All right, we got a yes on that one. Couple more here. We have the Pumpkin Rapper, like Rapper.
Oh, so he's got rhymes and
Yeah.
flow.
He's a rapping pumpkin.
And he raps, I'd assume, about Halloween and stuff like that. That can't be real.
Nah.
All right, we're going no on Pumpkin Rapper. And finally here we
It's
have...
probably Master P. The whole time the P is stood for pumpkin. Same with P Daddy and Diddy.
the Gnarly Gnome and his hypnotic accordion.
No.
That's a flat-out no from Spencer. Is that going to be our answer?
You're welcome to.
He's dumbfounded.
I got nothing. Yeah, there's no way that's real.
So we're saying no on that one. Okay. Well, that's all of them. let's see. Let me tally up the points here. You got 3, 4, 5. You have 5 points.
Okay.
5 of these
That's
are right.
not bad.
Because these were all real Power Rangers villains.
I knew you would
Every
do
last
that.
one.
I knew it.
Robo-Goat?
Robo-Goat's in there. I wanted to make some up, but then I saw these and thought, this is fun.
Yeah,
This is
you can't do any worse.
These
better.
all sound made up, to be fair.
I thought they would.
Well, I don't see why you were the only person that gets to quiz everyone at the top of the show. I'm going to do it.
You can do it on your episodes.
I'm going to do it in your episode. I don't give a shit.
You bastard.
Yeah. Well, I was reading, you guys probably, since we started covering the Power Rangers, were reading
Power Rangers Weekly.
1990s children's television show Crony Magazine.
Of courast Who
I've
wouldn't? I've got copies of it in the living room.
devouring the whole back catalog. It's all digitized now.
That's good.
I think Condé Nast bought it, I believe, as part of their media rights
Of course.
purchasing. But I stumbled across this quiz in the 1990s children's television show Crony Magazine that I thought you guys would be interested in. It's, are you a bulk or a skull?
Oh, boy. Well, first off, which do we think we are?
Well, you're going to find out at the end of this very short
Well, we'll see if we're
quiz,
right.
but
I
yeah.
think I'm more of a skull.
Hey, Van, you say you're
No,
more,
I guess I am more of a bulk. I'm
more,
a bulk guy
more of a
myself.
bulk?
We
Okay.
don't really know that much about Skull.
Oh, you know enough about both of them.
I feel like Bulk, we know. We have a great idea, but Skull just kind of goes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I'd put myself in the Bulk category. We'll see.
I think I'd be a skull as someone hesitant to get involved in a confrontation.
How many times have you raced directly at a woman who will not go on a date with you?
And then we're arm dragged onto a gym mat.
Bulks and skulls do that.
All right, let's do this then.
All
Skull
right.
just kind of went along, though.
Okay, you guys. Question number 1. Van, you can answer first on this first one. How would you describe your fave do? That's hairdo. Is it A, ink blot pompadour, or B, dishwater rope?
Dishwater rope, definitely.
Spencer?
I like the first one better. What was something Pompadour?
Ink blot pompadour.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it.
Question number 2. Spencer, you'll answer first. What's your general vibe? Do you consider yourself A, aggressively stupid pillowcase full of milk? Or B, squirmy rascal with unfortunate home life?
Yeah, I would have to go with the first one.
I'd have to go with the second one. I feel like I am a squirmy rascal.
Okay, different responses again from you two. Question number 3 on the Are You a Bulk or a Skull quiz that all the TikTok teens are taking these days. It's probably featured in HBO's show Euphoria. What's your preferred love language? Is it A, taunt and use force? Is it B, cackle, look to boorish friend for direction, flee?
I've done a little of both in my life. Sometimes it's better to taunt and just throw yourself at them. Sometimes it's better to be a little frightened. I think I'm going to go with the second one again.
You're more frightened.
Yeah,
Okay.
more frightened of women.
I definitely would taunt and use force, no question.
Okay.
That's-
So
Yeah, I
opposite.
get that vibe.
Opposite. Yeah, you're very forceful.
I've always done that.
Okay, so question number 4 here, Spencer, you'll take the lead. It's the weekend and you've got a hot date. What fit you going with? And that's outfit, is what I mean by fit. Is it A, sweat-hardened jean jacket with boots caked in dog shit? Or B, try-hard sport coat with fuckhead scarf? I've seen you wear both.
Yeah, they're both tempting. I'll do the try hard one.
Okay.
I am a big fan of scarves and weird head things, so I'm going to lean that way. The second one.
Okay. You both are going with the sport coat and scarf combination. And on your final question, are you a bulk or a skull? What's your type? Van, is it A, convenience store with only one clerk and a camera that's easy to disable? Or is it B, con the elderly with a series of balloons and promises?
Ooh, this is tricky because I don't like the elderly. They tend to be just awful people. And that's not true of every elderly, but it's true of a lot of them. So I think I have to lean that route. Number 2.
Okay, Spencer,
I'll
what's your
con the
type?
elderly, yeah. I'll con
You're
them.
both going to con the elderly.
Con them good.
So are
Okay.
we bulk or skulls?
You were both skulls.
Huh.
Interesting development.
Because we both said bulk.
You're both a bit hesitant when it comes to action, a bit sensitive on the inside, with a flair for the fashion dramatic.
It's interesting that you had to input those results into this quiz and then read them to us by not reading them. That's amazing.
Sure sounded like a quiz result to me. I don't, the listeners know that this was all real.
Well, we're all bulks around here. Or we're all skulls around
Yeah,
here.
come on. You
I
guys
was
are
trying.
no bulks.
I was trying to answer to make me a bulk, but I failed.
That sounds like a cool, like, sharks and bulks and skulls,
Yeah.
like a gang name, but like a gang that's not going to do anything.
No, but kind of laugh at you, and then you get out of the way. You move out of the way of it.
Like Brian Vaughn being approached by a teenager.
Yes, and I think that at this point we've learned a lot more about ourselves and a lot more about the various monsters that populate the Power Rangers.
Indeed, and we're going to learn more about those various monsters that populate the Power Rangers. A few other things I'll go over here that have happened since our first episode covering the show. Most important of all, Rita Repulsa went and created her own Power Ranger. She saw how good they were, and she said, I need a Power Ranger, and she created the Green Ranger in season 1. And basically what happened is this kid named Tommy shows up and proved to be Jason, the Red Ranger's equal in a local martial arts tournament. So therefore, Rita corrupts Tommy, and he winds up beating up all the Rangers until eventually he's released from Rita's spell or what the fuck ever and becomes an official good guy Power Ranger.
Oh, good. Another one.
Yeah, so now we have 6 total. Unfortunately for Tommy, though, he was powered by Rita or something or other. So basically, his ability to morph and help out and have the Zord and all that, it's finite. And we'll deal with a lot of that on today's episode. And that's it. That's really it. Surprisingly, in 60 episodes, not a lot went under the hood.
I didn't
for Power
notice
Rangers.
that this other guy was there until near the end.
Right.
And then I wondered, did he speak? I don't know.
Yeah, he spoke throughout the episode.
Did I just think he was Jason?
You hear the word Jason and you get so fixated on a machete, you can't pay attention anymore.
I love the diversity of this show also in that they're like, let's see, how do we start out? Okay, we've got white cool kid, white nerd boy, white girl who is girl, black boy, Asian girl.
Mm-hmm.
What do we need to add?
White guy.
Just keep adding white guys.
There's only one of the minority races ever.
Yeah.
And then there's as many, the rest of it you flesh out
Yeah,
with
this
white
is some
people.
real Burger King Kids Club shit.
Well, they didn't have a kid in a wheelchair named Wheels, Brian.
No,
if I
that's
told you
true.
they did, you would have believed it.
That is, yeah, I can't. I've learned from the beginning of this episode to believe everything you say about Power Rangers.
You just say about everything.
I could be
say.
Power Ranger gaslit so easily.
I'm hoping that's a thing. Like that's a common
Power
occurrence
Rangers
out in the
gaslit.
wild.
They call it belief morphing.
Well, Tommy the Green Ranger is played by cool martial arts guy, ponytail having, and 3 first named Jason David Frank.
Okay,
That's his
that's
name.
horrible.
Ugh.
All first names, too.
Mhm. And Frank was a legit martial artist, like several cast members, and he's actually created his own blend of American karate called Toso Kune Do, which translates to Way of the Fist Fighter, and this is all real. And in 2003, he was inducted into the World Karate Hall of Fame, and in the late 2000s through the 2010s, Frank did a bunch of UFC and mixed martial arts stuff, even winning a handful of pro matches, so he was like a legit fighter.
I take back everything I said about you. I noticed you were there the whole time. You're a great actor whose presence was felt by this reviewer.
Well, for his acting career, he had some roles outside of the Rangers franchise, but mostly that's where most of his appearances come from. Unfortunately, throughout his life, Frank dealt with depression and mental health issues, and in 2022 was having family issues, including potential divorce from his wife. And on November 19th of that year, he was found dead by suicide in a hotel in Houston. Yeah, it's a horrible ordeal, and every Power Rangers actor comes out and talked about how great he was, and it's unfortunate and it's disappointing. But I would like to end my bit on Jason David Frank by telling a tale that is both awful and in a lot of ways kind of hilarious. In 2017, Frank was scheduled to appear at the Phoenix Comic-Con, but leading up to the event, a man named Matthew Sterling was apparently preparing to arrive at the con with the intention of killing Jason David Frank. The good news is that guy was stopped by police, albeit after arriving at the convention with multiple weapons, including loaded guns, body armor. Nobody was hurt. That's the good news. Now,
Was this Zedd?
no, he had skin, Brian.
Oh,
Well, evidently, that guy thought he was literally the real-life version of the Punisher, and his whole gimmick was about killing bad cops. Evidently, that meant killing the actor who played the Green Power Ranger
wow.
on television. And so, obviously, there's some mental stuff going on with that guy. Now, why is this hilarious, Van, you ask me? Because evidently, Sterling put a calendar reminder in his phone that said, kill JDF, as a reminder for the day of the Comic-Con. Like he'd fucking forget.
Did he have one 3 days later where he's like, killed Dennis Franz from NYPD Blue or whatever? Like just
Bad
whatever.
cops, yeah.
Yeah, he just he might have been a good cop. I don't know. He shows his butt though. How good could he be?
Well, in 2020, Sterling was sentenced to 25 years in Arizona State Hospital, so at least he'll get some medical help for his clearly fucked up brain. That's the good news.
Don't let him watch any more TV.
All right, let's get into this episode now. I mentioned previously that this is a 3-part series of Power Rangers. We're only going to talk about the first one. We're covering the Mutiny Part 1. I will, at the end of this episode, explain what happens in Part 2 and 3, and one of the three of us, well, I guess I would say two of the three of us, have watched Part 2 because Spencer just went ahead and
in
watched
case.
it. You know.
It's a good frame of reference.
And you guys can tell me all about what happens in
Oh,
part
I've already
2.
forgotten. It's terrible. But when Van summarizes it, I'll see if I agree with it. I'll be like, yeah, that's about what I saw in Part 2. Now, Part 3, you'll be the only one who
Right.
saw, so we're just going to have to take you at your word for that.
It's stacked. Brian's only seen Part 1. You've seen the first two.
Yeah.
I've seen 3.
Yeah, I won't be able to confirm your tale on that one. You can gaslight us.
Our second foray into the world of Power Rangers begins as the first did. That same badass intro sequence, lightning, robots, all sorts of cool shit in there. Although this time Zordon does not get billing. In fact, Jason David Frank is introduced. Still pretty cool overall. Reason is because David Fielding has left the show, aka the voice of Zordon. They've replaced him and are still using his big meaty head.
And it
for the
is
image.
noticeable, the voice
Yeah,
change.
it's a little different. The show opens with a montage of people getting a bunch of four-wheelers out and revving them up out in the desert, while a voice says, "Welcome, citizens of Angel Grove, to the 5th Annual Children's Hospital Charity Marathon."
And then Uncle Si comes out and says, we're going to have a pork bake.
And this is a charity thing, we're told, which is obviously good. But how is this a charity thing? What about an ATV race is charity?
I'm getting a sense that these Power Rangers episodes are centered on the kids going to an event that a 90s teen kid might think is cool, making up a reason that doesn't exist or matter. And in this case, they're doing this for charity for
Right.
a children's hospital, but it doesn't matter where you finish or anything.
Right.
And then that's all just an excuse so that a bad guy can find them.
Well, anyway, we also get a little remix of the Power Rangers theme here, where the guitar does the Go-Go Power Rangers part, and we get our first look at Mr. Kaplan, who is the principal of Angel Grove High School, and the man with the worst toupee you've ever seen, although that's a bit. That's part of the joke, and it's a bad toupee.
You know, it's hilarious.
And by the way, the actor portraying this principal is Henry Cannon, which is a cool-ass name, I'll say that.
Looks like he was shot out of one.
He hasn't done anything. You don't know him.
No, I've never met the guy.
Mr. Kaplan walks over to Trini and Zach, who are currently working on their four-wheeler, and the principal thanks them for helping put all this together. The two are like, of course, I can't wait to get out and hit those mountain trails on my four-wheeler.
All shows with kids do this from the 90s too, where an adult authority figure walks up to the main characters and says, "Thank you for being so great."
But it's not just heroes out here at the charity four-wheel drive race, as our two bullies, Bulk and Skull, show up. They talk shit to our crew, and it's worth noting that Bulk is dressed like a giant biker rooster,
Yeah.
but basically they do the same shtick they always do.
I love how dedicated Bulk and Skull are to their little outfits, like no matter what they're doing.
Mhm.
Whether it's karate, four-wheeling, like they wear the same general thing, but maybe an accent of their own choosing
They
to make
commit.
them stand out from the crowd. I, for one, was kind of happy to see them.
Well,
as weird
absolutely.
as that is.
And I think that's I don't know what they're trying to say about the characters that I guess are they just such trolls that they'll even show up and participate in charity events to give shit to their
Apparently.
villains or whatever.
They're good guys deep down,
Yeah,
Spencer.
heart of gold inside that Bulk.
They're just racist and sexist.
They just want to
And
make
lunge
friends.
at women for not going on dates with them, but they mean well.
Kimberly tells Bulk and Skull it's not all about winning, because that's what they're talking about. We're going to win. We're going to get the big charity prize or whatever. But Tommy does admire their confidence in themselves, and then Billy demands that the crew all gather around and study their ATV charity race mountain maps.
Who let Billy into the friend group in the first place?
Zordon, apparently.
Yeah, I guess you can't really argue with the guy or the projected image of
Tube.
power.
But the ultimate voyeur herself, Rita Repulsa, she's busy spying on the event. She's got her moon telescope out. She cackles to her minions saying, now we're finally going to get those Rangers.
Yeah.
61st time we try.
Keep trying. And she can always find where they are, but she acts like, oh, this time I can see where they are, and they're at a four-wheeler race.
And we have a new addition to the minion crew this time around. There's, of course, Babu, Squat, Finster, and Goldar.
All our old
the ones
faves.
we love.
The little Muppet crew.
But there's also Scorpina. who I don't know a lot about, but did read that she was summoned by Rita Repulsa out of a boulder. That's where she came from.
She
out
knows
of
how
a
to
boulder.
sting, I bet.
Well, she has a thing for Goldar, Brian. Like a thing for
Oh,
Goldar.
yeah.
They were going to go on a date, but it didn't happen.
She was hoping that lipstick would pop out.
Oh, this is the worst thing you've ever said.
He's a dog man.
He is a dog man. Ugh.
She wanted to have sex with him.
Woof. The other thing about Scorpina, other than wanting to fuck a dog,
You never wanted to watch a scorpion have sex with a dog?
now that you say it, I'm kind of invested in this. Well, when Rita fastballs her spear down to earth and makes whoever bigger, because that happens to everyone, not just Goldar,
Yeah.
by the way. Scorpina turns into a big scorpion woman. So it's not just her, it's a scorpion body. It's very weird.
Really?
Really.
This is the weirdest. You know what? Whatever you want to say about Power Rangers, this is not normal stuff.
While the evil ones are cackling and talking about all this, suddenly a lightning bolt crashes into the moon and the entire building begins to shake. This causes all of the villains to tremble because, as we all know, this can mean only one thing,
Again,
right, Goldar?
Yeah, anytime there's any kind of weather, it means one thing, and the higher beings know.
This can only mean one thing. Lord Zedd, the true Emperor, has returned.
Oh my gosh!
Oh shit, I remember this from training.
Now, that last bit was, of course, Rita's reaction to this news. She clearly is not excited about it. But who is this Lord Zedd? We'll have to wait to find out because we're back at the ATV race where all the contestants and many spectators have gathered to watch as all the racers just whoosh off and are no longer in view seconds later. So what are you watching? As soon as they're out of eyesight, that's it.
Yeah, and what's with this guy who's in charge of the race?
Mr. Kaplan.
I mean, is that is Mr. Kaplan? Yeah. Well, he looks kind of out of it and disheveled.
He's pretty drugged up too, I'm sure.
I guess if you're going to be a principal at St. Grove Juice Bar, you have to, you know, it's tough.
The only other option is that you hire Walker to replace you when you're killed.
Okay.
And then you infiltrate
listening.
It goes from there, yeah. And as you said, Mr. Kaplan's there. He's on the megaphone where he's explaining to the contestants that this isn't just a charity race. It's also a riddle or something, because the only way to complete the race is to solve all the clues located on the map given to each team.
You know, at this point, there's a little jittering in Billy's pants.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit excited. Mr. Kaplan says, good luck, ride safely. And with a roar of cheer from the crowd, the racers fire up their ATVs, Bulk and Skull bonk their heads in solidarity, and off they go. But the racers, they don't just roar off by themselves. No. They're accompanied by this soundtrack.
Yeah, go machine, go, go.
Ride the machine, go, go, go.
I will say this, it does describe what they're trying to do.
Ride the machine, go, go, go.
And it is consistent with Go, Go, Go Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this whole show is just whatever they want to go in that moment.
Unbeknownst to all of our racers, shit is getting real up on the moon, though, as Rita Repulsa's castle continues to shake and tremble. The crew of monsters are panicking, and Rita asks, where is he? As she knows Goldar is correct in his assumption that the only thing this could be is the return of the one true Emperor, Lord Zedd. As Squat and Babu clutch each other in fear, suddenly a flash of lightning bursts across the clouds in the sky of the moon, where there are clouds, apparently. And we're given our first glimpse of the terrifying new villain, the evil Lord Zedd. Now, Lord Zedd, for those who haven't seen him, has no skin, I guess. He's
Doesn't
just
need
like
it.
muscle, but he is wearing a bunch of silvery armor, kind of where like bones would be, like they trace the bones. And he's got a mask that covers his face with a crimson red visor, and he announces his presence while wiggling his fingers, which are covered with silver armor for effect. They're pointy.
Way to go. You made the whole audience horny.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I had to bring him up after you talked about dog dick. Lord Zedd says he's disappointed in the monsters' failure to conquer Earth and has returned to take care of the mission himself. As he's yelling at the villains, he's also lobbing lightning bolts with his hands and growling a bunch. He tells them all to prepare for his return and then just poofs away. Goldar, I guess, is very much all-knowing because he knew what this was going to be. And now, as the others scream in fear and wonder where Lord Zedd is, Goldar tells him he's in the throne room, really confident. He's like, of course he's in the throne room.
Yeah, and Goldar right away here tips his hand to degree. He's like, what do you mean? He's the true emperor. He's where he should be, in the throne room.
Yeah, he's super psyched that Lord Zedd is here, bumbling on and on about the true emperor returning and all that. Rita says this is all giving her a headache, and Goldar's response is straight up, deal with it.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. I hate you now.
He then rushes off to meet his emperor with the rest of the group following in tow.
And I thought it was weird that he accidentally calls him dad at first.
The four-wheeler race seems to be going well, I guess, but Jason notices something's going on with the moon or lightning or something or other, so he waves for the Power Rangers to pull off to the side. They determine that they better be on alert since something just doesn't feel right, and to keep their communicators handy in case Zordon calls them.
All Rangers off the road, it's overcast!
The tide's full.
Billy does his nerd thing about the next ATV clue, and then they just continue racing. And we next head to the throne room in the Moon Castle, which seems like the exact same room, but with less furniture in it, since it also has a balcony facing the Earth. Goldar has marched his ass right up to that throne room, and then we also see that Squat and Babu are hiding behind some wall full of peepholes or something or other. They're spying on the events of the room.
They want to know if they're getting laid off or not.
Or late. That's what I thought you were
Yeah,
going
they
for.
don't know what Lord Zedd does.
But I also like the idea that they're like, ooh, I wonder if my pension will kick in if I don't have a job.
My family! Was this show written by British people and we're supposed to be saying Lord Z?
That was my joke at one point, was going to be that if he's Lord Zedd, his voice should be like,
Hello.
oh, you know, we got to go get those Power Rangers. We got to take care of them. Stop by the Tim Hortons on the way and maybe do some moose hunting.
Have a little bit of Molson.
The camera pans past a wall or something where we see that Lord Zedd's first mission getting here was to upgrade the decor. And like a real Mary Tyler Moore, he's adorned the wall with the giant Z.
That's where he got the idea.
Finally, there's a bunch of explosions and zaps, and there's smoke everywhere, and then a massive throne appears, it too adorned with a giant Z, just like in Mary Tyler Moore. She had a throne with a Z on it.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Tyler Moore using a Z would have been great.
Yeah, well, it's when she comes back and she's like, Lou, you're not doing a good enough job. Kiss my feet. You remember that?
Yes.
And Goldar's like, of course, Mary.
Goldar's there. He's the news anchor.
In Santa Cruz today, cloudy with a chance of Zordon.
Goldar takes no time at all to bury his head up Lord Zedd's ass. He says he welcomes him back and pledges his service to the true emperor. The massive throne begins to swivel, and we get a better view of the mighty evil emperor, who, in addition to the whole not having skin thing, also just has his brain out.
Uh-huh.
It's just out. It's there. You see the brain.
Yeah, it's like Hannibal, the end of Hannibal.
That's right. Just like in Hannibal. Lord Zedd's there with his brain out.
Why hide it?
I
Be ashamed of?
I think they knighted Lord Zedd just like Anthony Hopkins.
We get some close-ups where we get to see he also has some tubes with liquid flowing through them attached to his very gross body. Goldar even recoils in horror/terror at the sight of Lord Zedd, who we see also has a big old snake crawling around on him.
The ultimate tube.
Finally, he's... I've never heard snakes described that way, but you're right. You are 100% right. Finally, Lord Zedd stands up and holds the snake up into the air. Suddenly, a red glow crosses the reptile, and it magically transforms into a giant staff with a Z at the end of it, just like in Mary Tyler Moore.
First thing I thought about this scene is this makes sense to me.
I buy it.
I know
this.
why all of this is happening.
Lord Zedd speaks and demands to know who is before him. Goldar gets a little sad and says, you don't remember me? It's Goldar, your faithful servant.
We had lunch like 3 or 4 times.
This does, of course, jog Zedd's memory, and he goes, oh, yeah, Goldar, the groveling one. He's just really mean to Goldar.
Yeah, and Goldar really has just about-faced. Like, his loyalty to Rita is completely transferable right to Lord Zedd.
Honestly, I don't blame him. I think he recognizes that Lord Zedd is just a far more powerful force than Rita.
Yeah, he knows where his bread's buttered.
Rita, for all her charms, really not that good at being a villain.
Goldar then proclaims his allegiance, and Lord Zedd says, you know what? You sucking up all the time. That works for me, man. Sometimes confidence is all you need to succeed. And bro, you lift me up. Because Goldar is really, really getting into it.
Man's best friend.
Lord Zedd says, because you're such a good suck-up, Zoldar, I'll restore to you what was once taken from you. And with a wave of his big Z scepter, A blast of light causes 2 golden feathered wings to appear upon Goldar's back, making him a dog, ape, wolf, bird man.
Or angel.
Or angel.
Why didn't Rita give him those back for that battle?
Did he have him in the battle? I can't remember.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he did either.
I think that's the sort of thing I would have noticed is dog man with wings.
Right. I think that Rita wasn't powerful enough to do it. And like Spencer said, Zedd is.
Okay.
Could also be that
All checks out.
maybe it's not actually as helpful to Goldar as Lord Zedd thinks.
Sure.
It could be that it's got a downside and he just doesn't know Goldar like Rita does.
Like Goldar actually sucks at flying.
Yeah. Or it's just hard to get through doors. So he takes longer.
Or someone punctures one of the veins in his wing and he
You get a big vet bill to get it healed up. Goldar thanks Lord Zedd for the gift and says, "You won't regret this." Lord Zedd says, "Now where are those teenagers that caused the incompetent Rita Repulsa to fail so spectacularly?" Now, typically one would need to look into Rita's voyeur telescope to spy on a bunch of kids a full planet away, but not Lord Zedd. You see, his red visor begins to blow, and we get to see in Zedd vision for a minute, with the Emperor seeing the Power Rangers just tearing ass through the desert on their 4-wheelers, and it's just, he can see all the way to the Earth.
Why did he ask? I mean, he can just do that. What's the point of asking them?
One thing about storytelling throughout history that I think has given a lot of writers trouble is having to be clever about how you reveal information.
Right.
And in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, they get around that by just having everyone see everything all the time.
And by now, Rita has arrived, and she begins to grovel to the Emperor while also calling Goldar a traitor under her breath. He demands she shut up, and then he accosts her for failing to kill mere children and that she is not fit to destroy a cockroach. Goldar chimes into this and says, "Hell yeah, my lord, I've been saying that. She ain't fit to destroy a cockroach.
I've never been loyal to her."
Zedd demands silence and says that she has made him very angry, so his meaty muscle body and exposed brain begin to glow a fiery red, and Babu, who's spying on this whole process, says, "It's interesting that the room changes color to suit Lord Zedd's mood, like a light bulb, mood ring kind of thing. Or, as I should appropriately say, the chamber of command changes color along with Lord Zedd's mood."
I assume that's important later. Maybe not. It isn't in this
I don't know that
episode.
it is, because I watched the following 2 episodes and it sure didn't come up.
They probably just thought it was a cool touch and then forgot all about it.
But I also like that Babu's watching this, and that's what he latches on.
I'm
He's like,
impressed
that's the
by the
surprising
set
part.
design.
Yeah. He put lighting up. All of this shit sets off alarm bells at the Zordon Command Center, where Alpha 5 is busy gyrating and saying, "Ay, ay, ay," like usual. Zordon chimes in and tells his slave robot to activate the intergalactic scanners because he thinks there's trouble afoot. Alpha 5 punches some buttons and says he'll transport the Rangers there immediately. Jason then hears his Power Rangers ringtone go off, and he pulls the group off to the side, and they park their ATVs, punching some buttons on their wrist things, and transport to the command center.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh shit, our whole day's shot." Like every time we go to one of these events, we get called up the Zordon.
It has to just happen constantly, I guess.
Side note is I can't wait to see in these modern Power Rangers how they've updated their gear for today's technology.
It's not great. To be honest, I thought about picking a later season thing of a different series or whatever, but they're boring. Like, even as stupid as these are, I can find fun things in it. It's almost a parody by that point, and a bad one.
It's that race to a processed middle that a lot of, mainstream consumption entertainment is now.
It's also, they were owned by Disney for a while.
Yeah.
So it ran through the Disney machine, which they did.
And they're the
do.
kings of that, as we know from a lot of their Star Wars stuff.
Mm-hmm. Once the Rangers make it to the command center, Zordon tells them his fears have come true and the evil Lord Zedd has returned. When questioned as to who Lord Zedd is, Zordon doesn't even bother mentioning that his brain is out, and instead just gives us his backstory.
Or the snake sword thing, which seems really like a thing you'd bring up.
Kind of important. Well, it seems Lord Zedd has been off-ruling other dimensions or whatever. I kind of tuned out a bit.
Okay, so here's how I interpreted this.
Mm-hmm.
Corporate saw problems at some of the other branches, and Zedd's like the guy that gets stuff done.
Yeah,
so they
fixer.
sent him out to do it.
He travels and, yeah.
Rita is like a Michael Scott.
Right. A regional
and
manager.
Needs help.
Eons ago, he did leave Rita Repulsa here to do his will, but since she sucks at her job like a reverse Reno Reigns, he's come back to finish everything off. He's the fixer, as Spencer said. Zordon continues saying he's not sure if the Rangers' Zords will be powerful enough to overcome Lord Zedd's magic. Alpha 5 says his power is greater than anything they've ever seen before. The concerned Rangers look on, unsure of the battles to come.
This reminded me more of C-3PO than any of Alpha 5's other stuff where he's like, I don't think you guys have what it takes.
Back on the moon, though, Lord Zedd has been filled in on what happens. He learns that Zordon is still up to his old tricks, but also believes that those teenagers will, of course, be no match for him. He's Lord Zedd.
Surely he can defeat teen humans.
While he's giving his big evil villain speech, Rita is groveling and kissing his just meaty legs, just kissing away.
And again, smile, just shit-eating grin on her face while she's doing it, as if to say, this is temporary. I know what I need to do to kind of stay in the picture until Zedd goes and I take back over. That's what I thought she was thinking.
It's so sad to see Rita reduced to this.
I know, because I'm Team Rita.
How can you not be?
To be honest, I watched this happen when I was a kid. I saw this series of episodes or whatever, and I was mad. I now, as an adult, understand Lord Zedd's awesome, but back then I was like,
Rita's my girl.
Yeah.
Did you go to like a recess the next day? Were you talking to the kids? Were you like, did you guys see this shit?
Can you believe this bullshit?
Yeah, we need to get Rita back in power.
I'm assuming that you were closeted in your Power Rangers life. Yeah, I thought so.
Very much so. I was afraid to talk to Brian about it because I knew he was mean about it.
It's like me and Gilmore Girls with you.
Yes. Goldar ends up suggesting that they should do what has just never once worked in the past. Send out some putties to attack the Rangers.
Yeah, well, there's more of us now than before.
But Lord Zedd finds this to be just the funniest fucking joke ever made. Funnier than that not joke from the last episode, because he cackles and belly laughs so fucking hard at this.
By the way, also, I don't know if you guys thought about this, but Lord Zedd laughing to me seems painful with his insides being on the outside.
Yeah, they're going to shake and contort. It's not going to be good.
And pulsate in the cold, open air.
It might be warm on the moon. What do you know?
That's true. I've not been to the moon. You know, that's a really good point.
Lord Zedd says that their putties are pathetic and no match for his own group of putties, which are far stronger than anything you've ever seen. He then points his scepter at a nearby stage and lightning zaps a bunch of Japanese people wearing skin-tight bodysuits, but this time, they have a cool Z.
They're kind of a different color, too.
They're a little grayer, maybe.
Yeah, they're kind of a more white and gray than just solid gray.
Glad you were paying attention to the gray details of the putties.
Yeah, I pay a lot of attention to the putties.
Well, it's been something like 8 full minutes since we had to look at Bulk and Skull, so the show decides to remedy that, and we watch the two crash their ATVs and fly 20 feet in the air, getting stuck in a tree, all while we get to listen to...
Oh.
I had to do it at least once.
Oh, my God. Yeah. It really takes me back. It's like a time and place thing of memory recall. I can picture them struggling in the tree when I hear that song.
Why do I feel like I'm going to just wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat with that song in my head now? At least tonight.
I hope you do.
The next time you find yourself bumbling, you're just going to hear that play. You know, when you're like carrying your groceries to the car and tripping incessantly and juggling the milk in the air and going, oh.
When you try to tackle a girl.
Yeah, when I do all those things, I'll just be like, I'm being such a bulk today.
Do you work out to get lean or to add bulk?
I work out to beat people up. But of course, they then find out once they get down from the tree that their four-wheelers are broken and Skull eats some oil and, you know, funny, hilarious stuff.
Which I thought Skull only put oil in his hair.
Nope, eats it too. Which makes sense. He probably secretes it.
Right.
I actually think this kind of...
Right. Like, there's no question.
Yeah, it just makes it made too much sense when you said it.
Skull's
Was like,
upset
obviously.
again. He's crying motor oil.
With his army of big-time putties ready to go, it's time for Lord Zedd to deal with Rita Repulsa, the final bit left in his takeover of the moon castle, and by now she's begging for another opportunity while Goldar laughs at her. Zedd says she's failed for the last time, strips her of her powers, and uses his scepter to make her scepter disappear. He then commands his putties to bring out a fitting traveling vehicle, which happens to be another space dumpster like we saw last episode.
Kind of looks like an urn.
And this causes Goldar to giggle and repeat these words, and I just could not pass up putting this in here.
Yes, her traveling vehicle. Good.
Goldar is so good. Just like he says, good.
That couldn't have just been in the script that way, right? He had to have improv'd that. That's the best he had.
I want to say
Nailed
that
it. Mwah.
before anyone gets in their car. Yes, your traveling vehicle, good. Good.
If not, though, I'm just picturing in the script, Goldar, a traveling vehicle, comma, good, exclamation point.
Oh.
Oh, Goldar. You take my breath away.
I will say, though, if you're, as an actor, if you're given that line and you're said, read this as a dog man,
He did pretty
That's
well
what you
then.
do.
that's as
Yeah.
close as you can get.
Lord Zedd then banishes Rita from his sight and zaps her with his Z scepter, causing her to shrink into a shitty little doll, which Goldar then grabs and places into the space dumpster / traveling vehicle and shuts the lid.
Good.
Zedd then makes the putties, quote, hurl her into the farthest reaches of the universe, but before they throw it, Zedd then shoots it with a lightning bolt from his scepter, which causes it to launch into space, with Rita screaming that they haven't seen the last of her. We haven't. She comes back and marries Lord Zedd.
You could
they
tell.
kind of telegraphed that a little bit.
How much they love each other.
All that kissing of his feet.
Yeah, the sexual tension was just palpable.
Yeah.
He sucks him off in a later episode.
Yeah,
So-
I did
Yeah,
watch
you don't
that
know what
one.
his dick looks like without skin.
So I had a thought.
Comes on the outside.
Oh,
I had a thought that wasn't sexual.
thank you.
That when he shrunk her down and got her into, roughly action figure sized is the moment that I realized that I would like an action figure of Rita Repulsa.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's a
That'd
cool
be
design.
pretty awesome.
She's
That
got
would
the pointy
actually-
hat.
I would love to have an action figure of every show we cover.
That
of
would be
some
amazing.
character.
You pick one character from each one. That's cool.
Like a Barth.
Who would you take? Would it be
Oh my
Rita
God, an
Repulsa?
action figure of Barth.
Oh,
Wow.
it'd be wet all the time. You put water in occasionally so it leaks.
But it intentionally smells bad.
Comes with guns, like several.
If it ever gets to smelling too good, leave it outside for a while to get the true Barth smell.
Okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and take our break here. Then when we come back, we'll talk more about all these weird fucking characters.
Bulk and Skull then have been wandering around for a while and come across the Power Rangers as now vacant four-wheelers, so they begin to steal them to finish the race, I guess. But just then, Lord Zedd sends his new, stronger putties to the planet, where they begin to attack the two comic relief characters. Alpha 5 notices this and alerts the good guys to the problem, and the guys all see on the viewing globe that the two idiots are being attacked, but something about these putties is a little bit different.
The uniforms, I mentioned it earlier.
The color, it's a little off.
Do you think at all any of the Rangers were thinking in the back of their minds, we could just let this play out and be done with Bulk and Skull?
We can take our time getting there this
Yeah.
time. Zordon warns them, however, that these putties can be super powerful, so be careful, but morph out there and stop them.
These ain't your daddy's putties.
We get the whole morph sequence here, and I forgot to mention, by the way, at the top of the show, when they yell all the dinosaur names, Tommy, the Green Ranger, his thing is the Dragon Zord.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cheating though, right? Everybody else has a dinosaur.
Kind of. A woolly mammoth and a saber-toothed tiger.
Well,
Oh,
that's
you're right,
When
you're
he's
right.
a late edition too, they're all out of dinosaurs. There's only like 4. So
We used them all up.
Yeah,
Let
it's-
me go back though. The dragons aren't real.
Aren't they?
They should be.
I mean, Sean Connery was a dragon.
Oh, that's right.
And you're the man
I
now,
am the
dog.
dragon heart now, dog.
I think we did this exact thing like
It was-
an episode or two
Zordon!
ago.
I don't see why not just do it every time.
All of the kids turn into Power Rangers and cartwheel out into the area to fight the putties, while Bulk and Skull hide in the bushes and marvel at the Rangers. A cool-ass guitar song fires up, and the Rangers engage the putties, only they don't seem to be doing very well. We watch a bunch of people in full costumes just kick and punch for a while, but the putties continue to win their fight with the Rangers. The Green Ranger surmises there must be a weakness somewhere with these putties, but he clasps his chest as he realizes his powers are beginning to fail. He then gets used like a battering ram by two putties, and the Red Ranger rushes over to help him. By sheer chance, the Red Ranger manages to punch a putty directly in their big Z logo right in the middle of their chest, and this causes the putty to explode into several pieces.
I was a little bit
Shocked?
surprised. I didn't know that it got so dark. I didn't know murder was in. I thought it was just kind of like beat him up and the putties gave up. I didn't know you could kill a putty.
Are putties people? How sentient are they?
I don't
they
know.
Go glub.
I mean, I felt it was too
Like
far
people.
when they killed him.
Okay.
I thought that's
real bad. Yeah, it was. I thought there was another show we watched recently where this happened to me, where something
Mary Tyler Moore.
where I'm watching it and then something kind of a little more violent than I expect happens for what the material is. I didn't expect any deaths in this, which is kind of implied here.
Yeah, I guess they are dead. If you explode a putty, I think it dies.
That's one of those Socrates questions that no one has the answer to. If you explode a putty, does it die?
If a putty is in a box and you leave it there and you don't look inside the box,
Is it dead or is it alive?
yeah, or well, you would know if you hear faintly.
Red, realizing he's found their very obvious weakness, tells the other Rangers to aim at the Z on the chest. All the Rangers rush out in the fight, and we see putties exploding everywhere, left and right, as the Rangers clean up the area. Dead putties just
blood and sinew just scattered across the landscape.
After checking on Bulk and Skull, the Rangers then teleport their way back to the command center, and the clearly very grateful Bulk and Skull decide, you know what we're going to do? We're going to unmask the Power Rangers. That's what they decide. And that is their mission from here on out.
I do like that. I think that every superhero thing has that. Someone trying to find the identity of the superheroes.
And you like that it's Bulk and Skull.
I like that it's Bulk and Skull, but I like that Bulk and Skull don't have a change of heart after being saved by the Power Rangers. They don't even think it's cool. They see only one thing, opportunity.
The Rangers are then back conversing with Zordon and talking about how lucky they were that they were able to figure out the putty's weak points so quickly because it was obviously very complicated.
Yeah, how would you not figure that out?
That's the first thing you punch at, right? It's a big Z in the chest. You just got to punch it.
They have no defining characteristics. It's like walking into a control room and you're like, what should I do? But there's only one button you can press. You press that button. Billy can tell you.
Trini says Lord Zedd likely wasn't planning on them figuring out the weakness so soon, and the group wonders what Zedd has next in store.
Zedd must think they're just idiots.
It's like, well, they're going to punch him in the leg where everyone punches things.
There's a character exchange between two of the Power Rangers after they're kind of congratulated but told they were lucky to figure that out, where one of them says, awesome, and the other one responds, most definitely.
The repartee of Power Rangers.
And such a 90s exchange.
Yes, it very much is.
Awesome, most definitely.
Well, when wondering what's next in store from Lord Zedd, Zach says, I got a feeling it ain't Pudgy Pig, which I've seen the episode of Pudgy Pig. And what it is Rita turns a pig who, he's just like all pig head, but with a Spartan helmet on.
You previewed the episode that I wanted to read the whole description of.
Do it now.
Okay, so apparently a few episodes after this one, there's an episode called Food Fight. So let me just tell you guys real quickly. Obviously, Van already knows, but I'm just going to read this for the audience as well. This is what happens in Food Fight. Ernie hosts a cultural food fair at the juice bar, and the Rangers help, offering foods from around the world to people. When Bulk and Skull arrive, they turn the peaceful fair into a full-on food fight, which infuriates Mr. Kaplan. Rita is inspired by this madness and generates Pudgy Pig, a wicked pig monster that is always hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Pudgy Pig will deplete the entire world of its food supply in 48 hours unless the Rangers can thwart them. The Rangers battle the pig, but problems arise when the villain eats their power weapons.
Yeah, it just gobbles them up.
That is a fantastic episode.
I didn't know that was an option.
And again, I'm going to point out that Pudgy Pig is the size of a person, but is all head with little arms and legs and a Spartan helmet on. Like, what's the Looney Tune?
Oh, like Marvin the Martian.
It's that kind of head. And he runs in and he just eats everything. They stop him.
He must have stomachs in his head then.
Yeah.
Since his body's not really there, it's all head.
That's the anatomy of a pig man, Brian, of course.
Okay.
A pudgy pig. Lord Zedd, by this point, has decided he's not going to use any of Rita's creatures and will instead create his own more powerful monsters. That's a theme, in case you aren't aware. Lord Zedd more powerful.
It's a good decision, I think, as it plays out.
Because 60 episodes, it hasn't worked. You
need to switch up your plans.
He raises his scepter with a Z on it and fires a lightning bolt directly towards the earth, hitting a California lake where apparently a piranha was just hanging out.
It's the Rampoon River.
That's right, the Rampoon River, which is not real. I did look that up. It's just a bullshit thing. This lightning bolt does cause the piranha to turn into a massive evil version of itself, which prompts an extra hearty ay out of Alpha 5. When they question what happened, Zordon reveals that he just kind of instantly knows everything, much like Goldar. Goldar and Zordon, they know everything whenever it happens.
That's how they got to these positions that they're in,
mm-hmm.
which are
Tube and Dog Man. That's their positions.
Yeah.
Zordon says Lord Zedd created a monster out of the very fake Rampoon River, and his sensors tell him it was a piranha, now called Pirantis Head.
Okay.
And I think it's really cool that Zordon's sensors don't just figure out physical traits of monsters, they get to know them. They learn what their names are. You gotta be
It's a
friendly
lot-
to your enemy.
A lot quicker than when they named that dog in the Waltons.
What was that again?
Beauregard.
Beauregard. That's
Beauregard.
it.
Yeah, now we have Pirantis Head, who is, I've saved it until now, late in the game takes the title of Brian's favorite character in Power Rangers.
Oh, it has,
I
okay.
just assumed that was Alpha when you said your favorite character.
I love
Or
Alpha.
Goldar.
I love
That's
Goldar
true.
too, but I was presented with 5 minutes to go in this second episode with a towering fish man.
Mhm.
Who has a squirt attack that I couldn't figure out.
Well, he
I-
also has nunchucks,
Yeah.
but they don't have like handles.
They
have
seem to
fish.
just be for display.
He holds his own fish
right.
that he uses
Not
for
him.
stuff.
No.
They're just
No.
other fish.
He moves very unnaturally. He's clearly amphibious because he can be on land. He's got a very interesting physical build also, in that he also, as you guys described, Porky Pig or whatever, has a really big head,
Mostly head.
kind of a squat body.
hmm
Yeah, I like this guy.
His voice too is you would think a goofy voice. We've heard goofy voices constantly, but his voice is just like, "Hey, I'm gonna beat you guys."
Yeah, he's
That's
like,
it.
just emerged from the water. Time to fuck some kids up.
The giant fish saying that it's funny to me.
Anybody got one of them containers of flakes that humans dump into tanks that we like to live in?
I really hope you got one of them logs that I can swim into and just be in for all of my life.
Yeah, you ever see how we reproduce with those little transparent, opaque eggs?
Ouch, my swim bladder.
It's fucking disgusting.
Zordon tells the Rangers, you got to get the fuck out there and stop Piranha's Head.
I'm up to the gills with Power Rangers.
But Tommy, the Green Ranger, he has to stay behind as he and Alpha attempt to re-energize his powers to get him back in the fight. He's obviously not full strength anymore. Tommy agrees, and the other Rangers quickly zip out to Tokyo. Oh, sorry, Angel Grove, my bad. They rush out to the middle of some city street, but behind them, on top of a building, the nefarious Pirantis Head appears, and we get a real good look at him finally. And oh boy, he cackles, threatens the Rangers. He's bipedal, so he grew legs.
He sure is, and he's got big calves and like a real sly look on his fish face.
Is this what the evolutionary process of fish is going to be? Are we
It's gonna
looking
look
at
like
it?
that, yeah.
I fucking hope
That's
not.
terrifying. Yeah, that-
Darwin knew.
not only are they leaving the water, but they're going to be walking.
There's a really solemn exchange with Zordon before the Power Rangers go to battle this fish man, Pirantis Head, my favorite character, where one of the Power Rangers says, very, very afraid, is it man-eating? And he answers,
I do love that line. That's Zach who gets that. Is
Yeah.
it man-eating?
and he answers, I'm afraid so. Very
Terrifying.
solemnly. Yeah. And then we see this thing. Go, if you're listening to this, go look up Pirantis Head
Yeah,
from Power
Google
Rangers.
that. Put that in your Google history.
and then get it tattooed on your body.
And if you already have a tattoo of Pirantis Head on your body, you have to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
You're
I
right
like
about
this
it.
new trend of Spencer saying, if you
If you
meet
qualify
these-
in this one impossible territory, you have no choice. It would be dishonorable of you not to review us.
Let me tell you guys, Piranha's Head isn't just scary looking. He's got a few tricks up his scales. Yeah, I thought that was pretty clever, huh?
Took me a minute. You know.
He says, watch this, Power Rangers. As he holds one of his fish nunchucks up to his fish mouth, he just blasts out a spray of water, which causes entire buildings to explode and seemingly kills hundreds of people, you would think, with
And-
buildings
Yeah,
exploding.
because he puts that other fish to his mouth,
hmm
which is what causes to happen. It's pretty obvious how the science of it adds up.
And then the water comes out.
Yeah.
The Rangers are rocked by this, but do manage to avoid any falling debris, and Pirantis Head tells them to give it up because they'll never beat Lord Zedd. The Red Ranger says, that remains to be seen, fish face.
I really like that Pirantis Head is created whole cloth by Lord Zedd and comes out a company man.
He does.
You'll never stop my maker.
He's never known anything else, Brian.
That's true. In the 20 minutes he's been alive.
Where does the water come from for his attacks?
The Rampoon River.
You know where it
Is
comes
it
from.
inside him?
It's his bladder.
Is that where he's a squirter?
Yeah. Oh, he's a squirter, all right.
Hold on. Pirantis Head squirt video. Nothing.
Nothing on Pornhub.
No.
Really? It's on X videos.
No, I went to fuckfish.com.
But okay, he was a fish before a fish. So does he have his fish memories of when he's in the Rampoon River? You think it was a fresh start?
I think his mind is so advanced now that it's just this whole other state of being.
Okay.
I think this is like the difference between Keanu Reeves before he meets Lawrence Fishburne
Oh.
and after.
He also has
awakening.
to be named Lawrence Fishburne in this situation. How did that happen?
Wait
I
a
don't
second.
believe it.
How is there another bad guy named Finster? But it isn't this guy.
Oh my God, that was.
Wow.
I don't accept this reality. Are we in the Matrix right now?
Oh, hey, Van. Who's your favorite baseball player?
Mike Trout.
Okay.
Jesus. All right.
Sorry, I was really fishing on that one.
I might tackle you.
Okay.
'Cause this is a-
It'll work.
Don't
Okay.
worry if it
I
I'll
think
allow
that,
it.
Oh, man. Oh.
It's because he baited me. All right. Get back to this. The Rangers then call upon the mighty power of their Zords. They know they got shit to deal with. They got this
Duh.
fish guy.
But why are you not, again, you definitely go straight to Megazord here.
Yeah, don't do the normal stuff. Skip over it.
Pirantis is flaunting it. Pirantis head, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
misspoke.
Well, he's so familiar with him, you call him by the first name.
He's swimming around the city, just tearing it apart with his water that comes out of him.
So gross.
After calling the Zords, the earth begins to split, and from deep within its mighty bowels, the Tyrannosaurus Zord raises from the fire below. The Rangers know they've got this one in the bag. That's what they think. They think they've got this one in the bag. But this isn't one of Rita's pathetic putty monsters like Pudgy
No,
Pig.
it is not.
It's not King Sphinx. This is one of Lord Zedd's most powerful monsters, Pirantis Head. The fish creature says, "I'm afraid this time you're going to be left out in the cold." And then he doesn't just shoot water out of his fish mouth with fish. He shoots cold out of his
This
fish
is
mouth
also
with
our
fish.
first indication that Pirantis Head's the total package. He's also hilarious. On
He has a good sense of humor.
On top of being powerful and hot.
Whatever it is he sprays at the Zords causes them to freeze in place.
Oh, just imagine what it smells like.
Gross.
Oh, God.
Oh. So the Zords freeze and basically become embossed, but also the pterodactyl Zord who flies gets frozen in air and doesn't fall. It just stays there in the air. That's how powerful Pirantis Head's ice maneuver is.
That's all of Einstein's laws of physics work.
Well, the Red Ranger sees this and realizes they're in trouble, and he goes, "Oh man, he froze the Zords. We're history." And then an ominous "to be continued" appears on the bottom of the screen.
And
End of
somehow,
episode.
And that's where I check out.
I don't know how you were able to. Somehow
Yeah.
you did
I'll
not watch
explain.
part 2.
Okay, I was afraid. I was afraid that a character I had recently developed deep feelings for would be felled in the coming episodes, perhaps sent back to the body of water whence he came.
That's understandable. Spencer powered through.
I
He got
did?
one more into it, and then you crapped out.
I mean, I couldn't find the third one easily, so I wasn't going to seek it
That's
out.
fair. Once you got a little pushback, that was it. No more. I happen to watch all 3. I will explain to you what happens in the next 2 episodes. It's important. You want to know what happens to Piranha's Head. You want to know if the Green Ranger gets his power back. I'll tell you.
Okay.
Well, I won't tell you that second one because that takes many more episodes. But anyway, it turns out the Tyrannosaurus Zord is not actually frozen. The others were, but the Tyrannosaurus is still good to go. Still being controlled by Jason the Red
You
Ranger.
know why?
Because it's red.
I just think Piranha's Head would have been able to freeze him too.
I think he didn't. He still wanted to dick around and toy with his prey.
I like
So
I
we
like
left
that
that
reading of the scene.
Well, don't worry. You'll like what happens next. Piranha's Head takes control of the Tyrannosaurus Zord,
Yeah.
effectively stealing it from the Rangers and turning it against them. But by then, Tommy the Green Ranger, he's recharged a bit, so he shows up and summons the Dragon Zord, but it too is then taken over by Piranha's Head.
Yeah.
Shit, what are the Rangers going to do? They're either frozen or taken over by Piranha's Head.
I hope he kills him. All of them.
The Rangers flee and realize they need to get bigger, more powerful Zords. That's the solution. Zordon is like, yeah, no, let's get you more.
Do they not have another? Just do that.
Well, the problem is Zordon says, I can give you new Thunder Zords. We got that. Thunder Zords are way more powerful. You'll like them. But you have to bring back the old Zords. I need them. We have to use their energy or some shit.
Were there like other parts on back order?
Yeah, you have to order one from China, and it
Yeah.
takes a month or two to get there. Meanwhile, Billy and Trini come up with a plan to construct a device which will block the signal used to control the old Zords. So they're like, all right, let's go and work on this while you guys figure out a plan to keep the Tyrannosaurus and Dragon Zord from destroying Tokyo/Angel Grove. Eventually, they complete this device and go to use it, but it doesn't do anything. Needing a Hail Mary pass, the Rangers decide to play their last big card here. One final thing they can try. They form their ultimate weapon, the Power Blaster. You mentioned the Power Blaster earlier, Spencer. We didn't get to see it in either of our 2 episodes. The Power Blaster is something that I'm very sad we didn't get to see. It's the one thing that we didn't get in our episodes that I really wanted. So I'm going to take a moment and have you guys watch what happens when they use the Power Blaster.
Rangers, the time is right to bring these weapons together. Your team must act together as one.
You heard him, guys. Let's do it.
Also, the villain's called the Minotaur.
Oh, he is too. Come on, guys, let's do it. That's my Jason.
Power daggers! Power lance!
Power sword. Power ranger.
Blew that Minotaur up.
Who wants to talk about what they just saw?
I don't know if I can describe that.
5 weapons became one that shoots 5
They took-
lasers at a Minotaur.
Yeah, they took like swords and knives and pokers and an axe and then made it a gun, which I approve of.
Oh, I approve of there being a Minotaur in whatever that was that we just watched.
That was
also.
the Minotaur.
Well, there
villain.
was a Minotaur. He's
Yeah.
gone now.
Oof, he's gone after that.
They exploded him.
Obliterated to dust.
So anyway, they shoot Piranha's head with that thing,
I don't
with
like
the mega
that.
gun.
He's okay, though.
Well, this gives Billy enough time to realize he put the battery in the device backwards. That's why it wouldn't work. The battery was backwards.
Oh, Billy.
So he fixes it. The device works according to plan. They get control of the Zords, and Alpha 5 is then able to use the Zord power to create the new Thunder Zords, which are just kind of like better versions of the old ones. They also get 2 new adjectives to describe what they are as they're assigned a Zord. So I'll go over that. The Red Ranger gets the Red Dragon Thunder Zord, which is fierce and true. Trini gets the Griffin Thunder Zord, swift and accurate. Zach gets the Lion Thunder Zord, courageous and strong. Billy gets the Unicorn Thunder Zord with mythological powers and wisdom. And then finally, Kimberly gets the Firebird Thunder Zord, which is powerful and agile.
Which is a Pontiac car.
She just revs it up. And then it sticks to the other robots. But when combined together, they actually form the mighty Thunder Megazord.
What's that?
Okay.
To shoot a ray that makes Piranha's head even stronger?
Well, the thing is, when all this is revealed to them, Billy, understanding it completely, says, "Whoa, more phenomenal." So anyway, they do the whole thing. Lord Zedd throws a big grenade at Piranha's head, which turns him to a giant Piranha's head, like Goldar in the
I
first
knew
one.
it. I knew it
Yeah.
would only make him more powerful. Just look at him.
But the good guys do eventually win. They use the Thunder Zords. Okay, so there's Thunder Zords or whatever, and then they become Mega Thunder Zord or Ultra or whatever. I don't know all the adjectives. Then they have an ultimate weapon, which is another sword. And this one's a samurai sword, like a katana at its waist. He pulls it out, lightning bolts, and he, boom, Piranha's head explodes.
What do you mean?
He dies. I'm not saying he doesn't come back later because Pudgy Pig was actually in 2 episodes.
Oh, good.
Like episode 5
I like
and
Pudgy
episode
Pig,
80.
too.
I think I'm going to need a moment alone.
You're so sad. Well, at the very end of the arc, someone does ask what happened to Rita Repulsa. They're like, where is she? Now Lord Zedd's here. So Zordon says, hey, go check out the viewing globe. And we find out what she's doing, and everyone has just a great time with it.
99 bottles of slime on the wall. 99 bottles of slime. You take one down, you pass it around. 98 bottles of slime on the wall.
99 bottles of slime on the wall. 99 bottles of slime.
What? You don't keep you don't start at 99 and then stay there. If you're going to pick it up, it's now 98, 97.
Zordon's a tube. He doesn't understand this.
I don't like that.
Also, we know where Rita's been, I guess, with the slime stuff. She's been an intern at What Would You Do?
Yeah. She gets pies in the face every now and then, too. Well, yeah, no, she's seen rocketing through space in their garbage thing singing that song. But
What was that called? Like her traveling hatch or something? Papers, shuffling.
Traveling vehicle.
Traveling vehicle.
Oh, sorry, excuse me. Traveling vehicle.
Yeah.
Good. All right, that's it for Power Rangers. We've done it, so we're going to talk final thoughts. I don't want to go first. Who wants to talk first about?
Sure, I'll do it.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Tall task.
Yeah, I don't know what remains to be said about all of this, or to be said.
That does kind of sum it up.
It actually does. These were easy to watch. I zoned out during the fight scenes.
Yeah.
I can't pay attention to that. I think
you're too good for explosions and robots.
I think it's a developed adult attention span that I struggled with that part of it. But I knew immediately upon watching this, I don't need to watch any more of these, especially alone. But I tell you what.
You will.
I tell you what, I cannot wait to talk about this thing. There's just so many things I wanted to talk about and marvel at. Like, this is different than a lot of shows we cover in that there really is nothing. There is nothing to say about it as
a final product.
Yeah, as like a piece of art that exists in the world. So that left this open to be a different experience, which is kind of just marveling at like, can you believe this? And that's how I felt watching this whole thing. It's like, not only did this exist, but it was like one of the most popular children's entertainments of our childhoods. And it is a show with fish and dog men.
It was huge. It was one of the biggest ones, like you said.
Just a marvel. And really, I feel like this completes like a piece of our era of growing up that I didn't have an accurate insight into, weirdly.
Do you think if you would have watched it when you were the age that it came out, you would have enjoyed it at all?
I think it would have been a thing that I would have on and kind of laugh at with you and stuff, as I now see it. Because it is so bonkers.
It is very bonkers. Back then, I was dumb. So I just remember enjoying it and just being like, this is fun. I didn't realize how bizarre the things I was looking at was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at a young age, you had encountered Piranha's head before.
I see him here and there. He's from this area.
He's around.
The Rampoon River is over here.
You see him at Table Rock Lake.
Yeah, so my thought is the result of all of the writer efforts here and creators and whatever inspiration they drew from whatever Japanese show it was, the result of it was a monstrosity, the final product. That's not in any way cohesive or makes any sense or could be considered actually like a TV episode. However, the world being as bizarre as it is, that's its own thing. We have to acknowledge that part didn't really work well. The characters that it introduced us to along the way are amazing. So it makes it all worth it to me, is because we've got a handful of people and fish to talk about that I don't think we're going to forget about anytime soon.
No, that's true.
So the characters in this are worth it, even despite all of the shortcomings, all of the many, many, many shortcomings of the show. And that's something that I really value quite a bit. It was worth watching.
Sometimes you're going to be a dialogue-driven show.
Right.
Sometimes you're going to be a story-driven show.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you're a character-driven show.
Absolutely.
And that's what we've come across here, because Piranha's head lives rent-free in my heart.
And let us
Goldar.
not forget Goldar, who
Babu.
man's best friend until there's another man
With
who
his brain
seems
out.
more important.
Yes. A couple notes. Like I said, Lord Zedd marries Rita Repulsa. That's a part of a storyline. This is, again, early season 2. Between season 2 and 3, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie came out. And this was a big deal when we were kids. I remember this. I got McDonald's toys. I was psyched about it. Don't think I ever watched it. I did, however, watch a few moments of it recently while doing this research. And basically, it's an hour-and-a-half long Power Rangers episode with a better budget, which means Lord Zedd's brain pulsates.
Wow.
It legit pulsates. And also that's where Ivan Ooze comes from. He's,
Oh.
he's the main villain in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that, I believe, was the only time Piranha's Head won a Golden Globe.
I believe so, yes. Now, he was snubbed in the Emmy, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to win them all, you know.
Can't.
Any questions about Power Rangers you might have? Maybe I have an answer.
Does the story end? Is there like a thing that happens? Or probably not, right? Because there's so many different reincarnations of it.
Well, because the Japanese series follows a pattern of they have one season, the actors change, the costumes change, the dinosaurs or whatever change. The U.S. show was kind of limited to doing that. And there's only, if I remember correctly, one series that was not that. They didn't take any Japanese footage. And that was like the last one that Disney made simply because they had an agreement with a different company, I think the toy company. Other than that, not really.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they're in space, sometimes they're ninjas, sometimes they're animal fuckers.
And that's pretty consistent with all of children's programming,
Yes.
is it just kind of goes in circles because kids
you don't need to
care.
wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no reason to.
And they don't realize that's happening. Like when you're a kid, a lot of the stuff that irritates you as an adult viewer is just like, you accept it because you've not experienced a lot of stuff yet. So
And you're dumb.
it's not until you're like what, 49, just stupid. We've got a ways to go yet, guys.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but it isn't, because the three of us are going to go watch the 2017 reboot, then come back and record a brief bonus show available for free on our Patreon account, patreon.com/Bootu Inc. Look forward to that. It'll be interesting to see how it's changed, what Disney did with it. But before we get out of here, we need to reveal what show we're doing next.
What show we're going to morph into?
Metamorphosis is what that means.
Change.
Oh, sorry. And Spencer has control. I think.
Yes, that's
okay,
correct.
good. I was correct.
Yeah, that's right. So
Probably going to do Aftermash.
Power Rangers Neo.
here's the story.
The Brady Bunch.
What is that? I know. Is
no,
that what
no,
that is?
no. I'm just telling you guys a story
Oh,
about how I
okay.
picked my show.
No, okay.
Yeah. So I looked at it as two choices.
Brady Bunch.
I could double down on the Waltons territory.
Yep.
And do the Waltons again.
Go back. I would not survive that. Go back into that era and explore more of that, I don't know, golden era of
Homeliness.
TV, whatever you want to call the 60s, 70s of TV. Or I was really inspired by the Power Rangers. I've got so many shows that I liked in the 90s that I would like to cover at some point in the show. So I really had a couple options there. In the end, I think that I was more drawn to the first idea. And on that note, I was kind of following up what Brian did too, because he did that show about a lovely lady, Mary Tyler Moore.
Mm-hmm.
It is the Brady Bunch, by the way.
Oh, okay.
In case I didn't make it clear.
I don't know what that is. I know it's about a bunch of people. They live in a home and there's kids, right?
That's
that it?
the entire show. You want me to tell you exactly what it's about?
I would love that.
It is, and by the way, this is 1969 to 1974.
Nice.
So it does predate the Waltons a little bit. I don't think it's as highly regarded, but we'll see.
Wait, maybe. I don't know.
People love the Waltons.
People love the Brady Bunch too. That's tough.
From what I've read, and
I bet you there's a big overlap.
I'm a
in people
newcomer to this, of course, but the Brady Bunch is considered far less real than the Waltons.
It's like, that's bullshit.
The Waltons was so true to life, I guess, and the Brady Bunch is too happy.
There are no ghosts that stop trains in the Brady Bunch.
Grandma does come home.
The family, I think, is just much more like unobtainable happiness in the Brady Bunch. Just from what I guess, they don't struggle like the Waltons do.
I've seen a lot of episodes of the Brady Bunch. Yeah.
So is that true? Are they too happy? Is it too perfect family sort of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
everything kind of reset. It's much more the sitcom template of the time.
Yeah, and it is. I made sure it's not another 45-minute experience. These are short, so it'll be more tolerable for that. But the best synopsis that I could find is the misadventures of a family united when single mother Carolyn, that's the lovely lady, finds love and marriage with single father Mike Brady. With a man named Brady.
A man like that.
It's only 5 seasons. For some reason, I thought it ran a lot longer.
I would have
than that.
guessed 50.
So
700.
I picked 1 in season 3 and season 4, so we're going to get more like middle towards the end and no super early ones this time. So the 2 that I chose, season 3, episode 10, My Sister's Shadow is the first one. And that's when teachers compare her to Marcia, Jan is determined to establish her own identity by trying to make the pom-pom team.
I wonder if this is where the famous
Yeah.
Marsha
I was
line comes
hoping
from.
because I know Jan hates Marsha for being perfect, and that's a big Brady Bunch theme is Marsha, I hate Marsha, she's so perfect, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm hoping that we touch on that main theme of the show. Sibling rivalry is a huge thing in the Brady Bunch, apparently.
Do you think there's a point, maybe season 5 or so, where her anger gets so intense that she zaps a lightning bolt in a lake, which creates a piranha in a piranha's head to devour Anne?
I'd be shocked if Piranha's head does not make an appearance in the Brady
That's
Bunch.
where
She's one of the kids.
That's where they did it in Happy Days, and that's where that
Oh,
phrase
okay.
comes from, jumping the piranha's head.
Well, you know, and the squirter liquid that comes out of Piranha's head does impregnate you. Just
Oh,
on
yeah.
contact.
Damn. He's good.
Freezes and impregnates. The next one we're doing, which sounded interesting to me because it involves the older lady, Alice, I guess their caretaker.
She's the housekeeper.
Maid or whatever.
Yeah, and they're
It is-
always shitting on her and taking her
Oh,
for granted.
apparently this one is like all about that, where they decide just to scare the shit out of her, and it's not a big deal because she's just a maid. So this is season 4, episode 6, Fright Night. When the boys frighten their sisters with a manufactured ghost in the middle of the night, the girls decide to get even. And somewhere along the way, they decide to scare Alice.
And they manufacture a ghost.
I thought that was an odd description, too. It's like a business that creates ghosts, like pumps them out of an assembly line.
And I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you want to see some real 70s artifacts, the Brady Bunch is good for that.
Okay, so it'll be fun.
I thought that despite it kind of dangerously bordering on Walton's territory, that it's going to be dumb enough and
It's not anything like the Waltons.
breezy enough to where I'm not going to hate doing it the way I did the Waltons. And I think maybe we'll enjoy the experience more.
Yeah, it definitely will go down a lot smoother
Yeah,
regardless.
that's all I'm asking.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this week. One final tidbit, by the way, is that when I picked Power Rangers, I actually was trying to pick the Fox Kids show Big Bad Beetleborgs. Big Bad Beetleborgs. It's hard to fucking say. And you can't find it. You can't find episodes of this shitty, horrible show. Do either of you remember that?
No.
I've never
I've
seen
made
a
fun of it.
second of it, but
Boy, there's like an Elvis ghost, and it's a thing. But anyway, I couldn't figure it out, so I was like, "What about Power Rangers?" Then I watched a Power Rangers episode and went, "This'll do."
I think we can deal with this.
I'm
now
really
that I've seen
hoping
this Dog Man.
that doesn't happen to me because I have a couple that we're going to have to do that are in that territory, and I really hope they are still around somewhere.
I have had this happen with one as well, which I will not mention because I'm hopeful that at some point
We probably are thinking along the same lines, too, so I hope you don't steal it from me.
I might buy it on DVD.
All right, then. Well, again, that'll do it. Thank you for tuning in. Check out the Patreon feed, patreon.com/Bootu Inc. Get the bonus episode. We will be back next week with some Brady Bunch. But until then,
Bill Gates.
he's here.
I'd like
to talk about the Power Rangers.
I listen to all of the Bootu Inc. podcast. Aye, aye, aye.